Congress at Vienna in 1815? The answer is Duke Metternich. Which one of the following is true about the Treaty of Constantinople, Constantinia, in 1832? The answer is it recognized Greece as an independent nation. Who among the following formed the secret society called Young Italy? The answer is Giuseppe Mazzini. Who among the following took power in the southern part of Vietnam after the division of the country? So this we are going to take later, because the chapter Indochina has the answer there. But just for your information, the answer is this one. Which one of the following types of government was functioning in France before the revolution of 1789? The answer is monarchy. Who among the following were known as colons? Again, this question is from the second Indochina chapter, discussion or chapter. But for your information, the answer is French citizens living in Vietnam. So answer is A. Which one of the following statements is false regarding the Act of Union 1707? The answer is it was an agreement between England and Ireland. This is false. Which one of the following states was ruled by Italian princely house before unification of Italy? The answer is Sardinia, Piedmont, D. Which one of the following statements is not true about Giuseppe Mazzini? The answer is C. He wanted Italy to be monarchy. This is wrong, otherwise A, B, C are true. Next one. Who said when France sneezes, the rest of Europe catches cold? The answer is Metternich. Which treaty recognized Greece as an independent nation? The answer is the Treaty of Constantinople. Who was responsible for the unification of Germany? He was Bismarck. Which area was known as the powder keg of Europe? The answer is Balkans. Aled, the measuring unit of Germany, was used to measure cloth. Zollverein, started in 1834 in Prussia, refers to the answer is customs union. The Ottoman Empire was ruled by the Emperor of Turkey. At which of the following places was the Frankfurt Assembly convened? The answer is at the Hall of Mirrors in the Palace of Versailles. Well, in the text, it is given that the church was also there, but the main was this one, and the second answer could be this Church of St. Paul. But basically, the Hall of Mirrors in the Palace of Versailles it was. Next is, what did the crown of oak leaves symbolize? The answer is heroism. Heroism for the Germans. By which of the following treaties was the United Kingdom of Great Britain formed? And the answer is Act of Union. Who was Wolfe Tone? Wolfe Tone. The answer is an Irish Catholic who revolted against the British dominance. Which of the following best explain utopian society? The answer is an idealistic society which can never be achieved. After the French Revolution 1789, the right to vote was given to all property owning male citizens of the country. The main function of Prussian Zollverein was to, the answer is, abolish tariff barrier. Which of the following group of powers collectively defeated Napoleon? The answer is Austria, Prussia, and Russia and Britain. So these are 22. The answer is C. Which of the following countries is considered as the cradle of civilization? The answer is Greece. The Treaty of Vienna, signed in 1815. The answer is brought the conservative regime back to power. Rudiwadi. Romanticism refers to, the answer is cultural movement. Next is in Prussia, who were referred as Junkers? The answer is large landowners. Which of the following is an allegory or attribute for liberty? The answer is red cap. What does a blindfolded woman carrying a pair of weighing scales symbolize? The answer is it's justice. Who among the following was proclaimed the first king of United Italy? The answer is Victor Emmanuel II. A nation state is a state where? The answer is this D. A state where people live in common territory, develop a sense of identity and share a common history. Most important outcome of the French Revolution of 1789 was, the answer is transfer of sovereignty from monarch to the French citizen. So it is C. Identify and mark the incorrect response. The Napoleonic Code. The answer is C. Formulated codes for the army. This is the incorrect response. Others are correct. Next is large number of people were hostile to the Napoleonic Code because the answer is administrative changes did not go hand in hand with the political freedom. For the middle class of Europe, the most important feature of liberalism was individual freedom and equality before law. The answer is C. Why did the Frankfurt Parliament fail to achieve its goal? The answer is C. Kaiser William refused to accept the crown and opposed this assembly, and the assembly broke down. So these are the answers for the multiple choice we have taken. Questions or MCQ of this chapter. The first one is, why was the Tonkin Free School started in 1907 in Vietnam? The answer is to provide the Western style education. This is the answer. Then, who among the following was the founder of Hoa Hao movement in Vietnam? He was Huynh Phu So. Which one of the following was not an impact of Great Depression of 1930s on Vietnam? Not an impact. The answer is Vietnam was occupied by Japan. This was not an, because price of rice and rubber fell, unemployment was there, rural uprising was there, but the Japan occupation was not the outcome of this one. Which one of the following was an impact of the Great Depression of 1930s on Vietnam? Now the answer is that price and rice price of rice and rubber increased. There was a decrease in unemployment. There was uprising in rural areas. So which one of the following was an impact of Great Depression? See, these are all the options. But here the catch is, the answer is A. Japan defeated and occupied Vietnam. So this is the answer. Now which one of the following statement is not true about Trung sisters of Vietnam? The answer is Phan Boi Chau wrote a play on the lives of Trung sisters. The next one is, this is the answer actually. Next one is, which one of the following is true about Phan Chu Trinh? The answer is this one. He wanted Vietnam to be a democratic republic. This was Phan Chu Trinh objective and mission. In which famous battle were the French defeated? The answer is Dien Bien Phu. Which European country colonized Vietnam? This one, 8th. The answer is France. This because it was French colony. The Vietnam was a French colony. 9th, which society did Phan Boi Chau form? The answer is he formed Revolutionary Society. In which of the following areas of Vietnam did the French build a canal to increase the cultivation for export? The answer is C. In the region of Mekong. This is a river, Mekong Delta. By whom was the Democratic Republic of Vietnam formed? Democratic Republic of Vietnam. The answer is Ho Chi Minh. At which of the following places were the French finally defeated by the Vietnamese in 1954? The answer here is Dien Bien Phu. Dien Bien Phu. Or Dien Bien Phu. You can pronounce it like this. But which of the following persons was the Vietnamese Communist Party established in 1930? The answer here is Ho Chi Minh. What does NLF stand for? And the answer is National Liberation Front, NLF. What is referred to as the Ho Chi Minh Trial? The answer is an immense network of roads made to transport men and material from north to south. So this was a path actually like this. It was mostly the route is in Laos and Cambodia, and it goes into the Vietnam. So this is Laos, this is Cambodia, and here we have Vietnam. So this is the not trial, it's trail. It's the path, it's the route. In Indochina, who was referred to as colon or colon? It refers to, the word has come from colony or colonization. The answer here is the French citizens living in Vietnam. Next is, which of the following was the most important cause of colonization of Vietnamese by the French? The answer, of course, is need of constant supply of raw materials. Then we have, which of the following best explain civilizing mission? The answer here is a belief that Europeans are the most superior and has a duty to civilize the natives of the colonies or the under-civilized. So they have already achieved the civilization, best civilized people they are, Europeans. Why did the French follow a deliberate policy of failing the Vietnamese students in the final year? Here the answer would be A, this one. So that the Vietnamese could not qualify for better paid jobs. In 1926, why was there a major protest movement in Saigon native school? A Vietnamese girl sitting in the front was asked to move in the back seat, where the front seat has to be occupied by some French girl. So this stirred or this created a controversy. What kind of party was the party of Young Annan set up in 1920? A political party. 22. Which of the following statement best explains syncretic tradition? The answer is the tradition that combines Buddhism with local beliefs. Syncretic. This is 22nd. Then the next one is the Trung sisters were well known in Vietnamese history because. 23rd, the answer is they were patriots who fought to save Vietnam from the Chinese attack. Next is indentured labor referred to. Indentured, and this is contracted labor for plantations, rubber plantations basically. Which of the following movements started in Vietnam in 1868 against the spread of Christianity by the French? The answer is the Scholars' Revolt. This was the first revolt. By which country was the domino effect theory advocated? The answer is America. Domino effect. When and where was the peace settlement signed to end the conflict between Vietnam and United States of America? The answer here is 1974 in Paris. Which of the following was the most visible form of French control of Vietnam? The answer is it's B, military and economic control. According to the French, the best way to civilize the natives was to introduce Western education among the natives, that is the Vietnamese. With what main aim did the French introduce French language as medium of instruction? The answer here is the French believed that educated in France, the Vietnamese would respect French sentiments. They will understand French culture and they will be a part of the French colony. They will live properly. Why did America decide to intervene in Vietnamese civil war? The reason is America wanted to check the spread of communism, Samyavadita, by destroying communist Vietnamese government, and of course wanted to help France, the NATO ally. In 1603, why did the rat hunt begin in Vietnam? The answer is the rat carried the germs of bubonic plague, a dangerous disease. So here are the multiple choice question answer and these options answers. You can refer it to the questions we just discussed earlier. Multiple choice questions. So multiple choice questions of nationalism in India. First is, which of the following agreements gave seats to the depressed classes in provincial and central legislative council? What was the agreement? It was the agreement of, actually it was Pune Pact, and the agreement was held at Pune. So Pune Pact is that agreement that gave seats to the depressed, and this was between Gandhiji and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Sahib. Which one of the following viceroys announced a vague offer of dominion status for India in October 1929? The answer is Lord Irwin, Viceroy Lord Irwin. Which one of the following combination of colors was there in Swaraj flag designed by Gandhiji in 1921? The answer here is red, green, white. This was the color, and it has the the charkha also in between that, just to show that people are self-reliant. So red, green and white. In which of the following region was Dalit participation limited in the civil disobedience movement? The answer is Maharashtra and Nagpur. It was quite limited. CDM or civil disobedience movement was limited because Dalits were not so much interested in this. They have different ideas and different thoughts. They took this civil disobedience movement according to their aspirations. Why were the Dalits ignored by the Congress for a long time? The answer is fear of offending the Sanatanis. Sanatan is a religion, Sanatan Dharma, and Hinduism is based on Sanatan Dharma. So Dalits were ignored by Congress because most of the Congress people were Hindus, and also they have the fear of offending the Sanatanis if they try or they start talking about Dalits. Which of the following acts did not permit plantation workers to leave the tea gardens without permissions? And the answer is it was Inland Immigration Act of 1859. In which of the following year Mahatma Gandhi inspired the peasants of Champaran district of Bihar to struggle against the oppressive plantation system? And the answer here is A, 1916. In 1917, it was Kheda district, and these were the 3 years, 16, 17 and 18 when it happened. It was in, I think, 1918 was in Ahmedabad. for cotton mills. These 3 years are crucial. It started all with the Champaran district of Bihar over plantation system. Next is, in which one of the following Indian National Congress session the idea of non-cooperation movement NCM was accepted, and it is Kolkata session, Calcutta session. Why did Gandhiji withdraw the non-cooperation movement? And the answer is, Gandhiji felt the movement was turning violent in many places. There was a violent incident in Chauri Chaura in Gorakhpur district, which falls in Uttar Pradesh. So here there was a non-violent procession and it was being stopped by the policemen and some were killed. Then the mob, it went to the police station and it set the police station on fire. So more than 20 policemen were killed and there were Indians also in there. That is why Gandhiji withdrew the non-cooperation movement. Which one of the following statement is false about Alluri Sitaram Raju? The answer is, he believed in the principle of non-violence advocated by Gandhiji. You just cut this non-violence. He believed in the principle of violence actually. All aspects or principle of Gandhiji, he vouched for it or he agreed to it, and he would also tell it to other people, urge people not to drink like this. But he was against the non-violence, he was for the violence. Which one of the following, and he was actually the person behind the guerrilla war in Andhra Pradesh. Which one of the following statement is not related to the Gandhi-Irwin Pact? The answer here is, Gandhiji agreed not to launch any further mass agitation against the British. So this is not related to the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, because Gandhiji participated in round table conference. He decided to call off the CDM, and the British agreed to release the political prisoners, which were more than 1 lakh at that time. But this is not related. Unrelated stuff is this. Why did nationalists in India to villages to gather folk songs and legends? Choose the most appropriate reason for the following. The answer is, nationalists did it because it gave a true picture of the traditional culture. Who among the following wrote Vande Mataram? Who wrote Vande Mataram? The answer is Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. He made the first picture of Bharat Mata also, and then the famous Bharat Mata photo was by Abanindranath Tagore. But Vande Mataram he has written, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. He also added it in one of his famous books. Which of the following statement is not true about the Simon Commission? The answer here is, it was appointed by Sir John Simon. No, it was appointed by the British government and Sir John Simon was the chairperson. The Jallianwala Bagh incident took place in the city of. The answer here is Amritsar. Outskirts of Amritsar, there was Jallianwala Bagh, and here the very, what you can say, this incident shook the nation. It was so heartful and heart-paining that innocent people were killed by open fire without even giving any warning by General Dyer and his men. Which of the following was the reason for calling off NCM, non-cooperation movement, by Gandhiji? Answer is the Chauri Chaura incident, as I indicated earlier also, which happened in Chauri Chaura near Gorakhpur. It is actually in Gorakhpur. The resolution of Purna Swaraj, this is Purna Swaraj, was adopted at which session? It was at Lahore Congress session. Purna Swaraj means full independence. The Simon Commission was boycotted. Why it was boycotted? The answer is, there was no Indian in the commission. There were 7 members which were sent to assess the constitutional remedy or reforms, you can say, but there was not a single Indian man. When did Jallianwala Bagh incident took place? The answer is 13th April 1919. Justice Party of Madras was a party of non-Brahmins. That is why they didn't want to boycott the elections. They wanted to be a part of it because they wanted to get those places which always Brahmins used to have. Who led a peasant movement during the non-cooperation movement? The answer is Gandhiji. It's not Gandhiji, I'm so sorry. It's Baba Ramachandra. Baba Ramchandra. Actually, the answer is C, because Baba Ramchandra was an indentured laborer. He came from Fiji and then he led the peasant movement. Baba Ramchandra led a peasant movement in Awadh against, the answer is the Talukdars and the Zamindars, the landlords. By whom was the Swaraj Party formed? The answer here is Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das. Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das. With which main demand did the civil disobedience movement start? The answer here is abolition of salt law. Abolition of salt law. At which of the following places did Gandhiji make salt out of seawater to defy the salt law? And it was at, the answer is Dandi. Dandi is a place on the sea coast of Gujarat. So here he boiled the water and he made salt out of it. Who among the following led the civil disobedience movement in Peshawar? The answer here is Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. By what name was the Dalits referred by Gandhiji? Harijans. Hari means God, Jans means people or child. God, people or God, child. When was the Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industries set up? The answer is 1927, in the year 1927. Why was Alluri Sitaram Raju well known? And the answer is, he led the militant movement, that is the guerrilla warfare movement of tribal peasants in Andhra Pradesh. He was in accordance with what government, means Gandhiji was saying, that he was in tune with him. The only thing is that he said that without fighting or without violence, you cannot get the freedom. Who organized the Dalits into the Depressed Classes Association in 1930? Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Sahab. By whom was the song Vande Mataram written? And this is asked quite at a time. Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay Sahab. Which of the following was the most important feature of Satyagraha movement advocated by Gandhiji? And the answer here is truth and non-violence. Satyagraha. Satya means truth, asking for truth and asking it non-violently. Why did Gandhiji organize Satyagraha in 1917 in Kheda district of Gujarat? The answer is to protest against high revenue demand. High revenue demand. Gandhiji organized Satyagraha against Rowlatt Act in 1919. 1919, why? The answer here is the act was unjust, which denied the civil rights of Indians. That is the Rowlatt Act. The police were given more powers. They can take care of or they can stop the political activities and parties and party people, and they can also detain or unlawfully take the political prisoners and keep them for 2 years without any trial. Why was Satyagraha organized in Champaran in 1916? The answer is to oppose the plantation system. Why did Indians oppose the Rowlatt Act? The answer is it gave the British the power to arrest and detain person without a trial for 2 years. And moreover, there was not a single way, because everyone was, Gandhiji, Jawaharlal Nehru and many others, they were the government was seeing them as a possible threat, and they were leading, all these were leading the demonstration, etc., and they were the main key person. So if they are being taken without any law or court system, then they can be detained for 2 years and that national movement will be gone. Why did Gandhiji organize a satyagraha in Ahmedabad mills, cotton textile mills, in 1918? The answer here is to demand for higher wages for workers and poor working conditions. So the protest against poor working condition in the factory, demand for high wages for workers, these both are there. Actually, the satyagraha was for both of these. So we can take either this one or this one. We'll be taking this B one because this came first, and the second was the working condition, because it is important to have money rather than the working conditions. So both are the answers, but we are taking just big B because of our we have just applied our common sense. 38. Which among the following two leaders led to Khilafat movement? This Khilafat movement was against the countries which are going to put some restriction on the Khalifa, which is from Turkey, and Turkey was under the Ottoman Empire, and Ottoman Empire lost. So it was seen that as Germany lost, it was being forced or put by so many restrictions. Khalifa will also be put under so severe restrictions. So because of this, certain people around the globe who are Muslims, they started a movement. This is called Khilafat movement. So who were the person in India? The answer is Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali. So these are called Ali brothers. What is meant by begar? Begar means working without being paid. So this the answer we will take here is forced labor without payment. The Hind Swaraj was written by Mahatma Gandhi ji. What does the term Khalifa refers to? Khalifa, it means spiritual leaders of the Muslims. As I said, Khalifa of Turkey, which was in Ottoman Empire, which lost badly. Marks the correct response. Under the Inland Immigration Act of 1859, the peasants were not permitted to, the answer is, leave their plantation without permission. This was under Inland Immigration Act. Why did Mahatma Gandhi decide to withdraw the non-cooperation movement? The answer is the movement turned violent. That is why. Why was the Simon Commission sent to India? And the reason was to look into the Indian constitutional matter and suggest any reforms, if any. So, and it was being strongly protested by Indians. Why was the Roundtable Conference held in England? And this happened to discuss the provisions of future Indian constitution. Next, by whom was the first image of Bharat Mata painted? And the answer is Abhindranath Tagore. As I said, that Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay also made one, but the first image which was painted by Abhindranath Tagore. During which of the following movement did the women participate in large numbers for the first time? And the answer here is civil disobedience movement. What kind of movement was launched by tribal peasants of Gudem Hills in Andhra Pradesh? And it was militia guerrilla movement. Militia are the, you can say, army-like people of civil. This is called militia. So militant guerrilla movement you can call. Which of the following is the most important factor for the growth of nationalism in India? And the answer is colonial exploitation under the British rule. So everyone was brought together, whether it is peasant, whether it is trader, whether it is women, anyone. They just came in under one umbrella, that they are being exploited by the Britishers. Why did General Dyer open fire on peaceful crowd in Jallianwala Bagh? He said after 1-2 days that he wanted to create a feeling of terror and awe in the minds of Indians, because they were protesting against so many things, and once the terror is fed in their mind, they will backtrack from the movement they are having. That is what thoughts of General Dyer were. So these are the this is the key for this multiple choice question. So I hope you can check what you have done, what you have not done, because you can just match this by going back. The MCQs or multiple choice questions. First is people livelihood and local economy of which of the following was badly, means countries we have to find out, was badly affected by the disease named Rinderpest. The answer is Africa, because this Rinderpest, it killed almost 90% of the, you can say, animals who belong to Africa and who belong to the African people, which were the most important, you can say, livelihood, or because they don't work. African people, they were not working at that time. They don't know payment, etc. Salary, they doesn't know. They are only dependent on their stock, livestock, and these livestock were badly hurt by Rinderpest. Which of the following powerful weapons were used by the Spanish conquerors to colonize America during mid-17th century? The answer is biological weapons. It's the pox. That is, we call it as chechak. So this was the smallpox, which was a biological weapon they used. Why did the wheat price fall down by 50% between 1928 and 1934? The answer here is due to Great Depression, or you can say economic slowdown. Most Indian indentured workers came from, the answer is A, Eastern Uttar Pradesh. Who adopted the concept of assembly line to produce automobiles? He was Henry Ford. He actually got this idea from the chicken, where they are killed, the chicken, and there was an assembly line, and he got that idea from there. In ancient period, the kaudi we call as, were used as what? It's a currency. Kaudi. This kaudi belonged to Maldives. So these were just shells, shells that are found in the shores of Maldives, and that are used as kaudis. Which of the following disease killed the majority of America original inhabitants? And the answer is smallpox, as we just saw in previous question. It's smallpox, because these people were not immune to this disease. That is why they just died. In which place of India were the canal colonies or canal colonies? Canal is the Nehar waterways, small waterways, colonies set up. The answer here is Punjab. The place, this Punjab, this area we were talking about, is half desert area. So because of this canal, the wheat was grown, and it was grown in order to export it. The fast spreading disease of cattle plague is known as, ninth, the answer is Rinderpest. Which of the following place was an important destination for indentured migrants? And the answer here is Caribbean island, the Trinidad, Guyana, like this. At which of the following states in USA was the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference held in 1944? The answer is New Hampshire. There was a hotel there, and Bretton Woods, that is called the place. There was a hotel where this was organized. Which two institutions were well known as Bretton Woods institution? The answer here is IMF and World Bank. 12, C is the answer. Who introduced the assembly line method for producing automobiles on a large scale? The answer here is, again, Henry Ford. He created such business or such use of the assembly line that in 3 minutes he was able to produce one vehicle, one car. Newly irrigated areas to settle peasants of Punjab were known as canal colonies. The group of powers collectively known as the Axis power during the Second World War were, see, there were two parties which were in fight, in pursuit: Axis power and the Allies. So 15, the answer is Germany, Italy and Japan. This is Second World War we are talking about. Who among the following is a Nobel Prize winner? V.S. Naipaul. He belonged to the Caribbean islands. And as the name suggests, his forefathers might have been the indentured laborers from India. Which of the following combination correctly indicates the three flows of international economic exchange? The answer here is goods, labor and capital. Next one is, which of the following statement correctly identifies the corn laws? It was restricted, that is, the corn was restricted to be imported to England. So answer is A. Which of the following refers to El Dorado? The answer is the fable city of gold. El Dorado, the fable city of gold. Next is, until 18th century, which two countries were considered the richest in the world? And it was, of course, India and China. Which of the following reflects the culture fusion between India and Trinidad? The answer here is chutney music. You can see the beats of the you can say Uttar Pradesh and nearby area. The music, you can hear the flavor of this music in this chutney music. Transport of perishable goods over long distance was possible because of refrigerated ships. The ships having a possibility of refrigeration so that the perishable goods like the meat can be sent over long distance. Which of the following sustained the African lives for centuries? The answer here is land and the livestock. Livestock, the animals they reared, they get the milk, cheese, curd from them, and of course meat. In Trinidad, what was referred as Jose? The answer is annual Muharram. This is a Muslim, you can say mostly Shia, the Shia festivity is this one, but it's not a festivity because they mourn for someone. They mourn from Hazrat Ali. So annual Muharram procession marking a carnival. Jose. What is meant by tariff? The answer here is tax imposed on countries' import from the rest of the world. That is tariff, levied. The World Bank was set up to, the answer here is finance post-war construction. Post-war construction. Because there was war, and after war, all the countries were not in a position to stand up themselves. They need some reconstruction agency. Next, mark the correct response out of the following. The answer here is the Silk Route acted as a link between different countries. Correct. The Silk Route helped in cultural and commercial exchange. Correct. The Silk Route acted as a route for westbound silk cargoes from China. Correct. So our answer will be all of the above. Why was the 19th century indenture described as a system of slavery? You have to mark the most suitable statement. The answer here is the indentured labor did not have any rights and lived like slaves because the contract between them everything is not disclosed. They are just shown the positive side, and once they reach there, they are confronted with all the bad things that have not been intimated to them. Why did the export of fine Indian textile to England decline in 19th century? The answer here is its British government imposed heavy tariff on import of cotton textile. Next, which of the following resulted in Britain trade surplus? The answer here is British export to India was much higher than British imports from India. That is why it resulted in Britain's trade surplus. Which of the following factor compelled the Africans to work for wages? And this was, of course, the disease which killed a lot of, or almost 90% of the livestock on which these Africans were dependent. So this is loss of livestock. Which of the following is the most important cause of Great Depression? As I said, economic slowdown. The answer is agriculture overproduction leading to fall of prices in agricultural goods. Why were the Europeans attracted most to Africa? Anything which gave them the material, the resources, the land, they're happy. So answer here is for the vast land resources and mineral wealth. Which of the following enabled the Europeans to conquer and control the Africans? The answer is control over the scarce resource of cattle. That is, because of the rinderpest, around 90% of the cattle or livestock already died. 10% were remaining. So they just got control over this 10%. That is how they conquered. Which of the following is the direct effect of Great Depression on Indian trade? The answer is Indian exports and imports nearly halved between 1928 to 1934. If I can give you some number, it was around 107 to 52, or you can say 100 to 52, it went down. 50, it went down, almost halved. So this is the key to all the questions we just covered. Who got people from village, ensured them, helped them, settled them in cities, and provided them money in times of need was known as what? The answer is jobber. The answer is D, jobber. Then where was the first Indian jute mill set up? And the answer is Bengal. Second, A is the answer. In 1911, 67% of large industries were located in which one of the following places in India? The answer here is Bengal and Bombay, present day Mumbai. And present day Bengal is actually, a whole state, so you can call the center as Kolkata. Whom did the British government appoint to supervise viewers, collect supplies, and to examine the quality of cloth? The answer here is Gumashtas. Indian industrial growth increased after the First World War because Indian mills now had a vast home market to supply. Because Britain was busy and other European countries were busy in First World War. Which of the following helped the production of handlooms cloth production? The answer is technological, very small technological changes. Why did the viewers suffer from problem of raw cotton? The answer is raw cotton exports increased. So they were getting less raw cotton, and that too for exorbitant prices. In early 20th century, handloom cloth production increased because the answer is new technology like looms with flying shuttle, they were introduced. How did the Indian viewers and merchants resist colonial control? The answer is they demanded tariff protection, and they tried to create new market for the new produce. Next is, at which place did the first spinning and viewing mill set up in 1874? The answer is Madras, present day Chennai. Why were the frequent clashes between the Gomashta and the viewers? Why they were in quarrel or fight? The answer here is Gomashtas were outsiders. They don't belong to that place or village, without long-term social link with the village. So whatever happens, they were not in good times or bad times. They are with the villages. So they are just like controlling people. Why were workers in England hostile to machines and new technology? Because they feared that they would lose their jobs and livelihood. Indian handmade goods could not compete with British machine-made goods because the answer is machine-made goods were cheaper also, and the quality was also good than homemade goods. So we'll answer B. Which of the following was a European managing agency? It was Andrew Yule. The main function of the jobber was getting new recruits for the industrialist. Next is, which of the following innovations help the viewers in increasing productivity and compete with the mill sector? Answer is flying shuttle. By late 17th century, why did the British manufacturers print calendars for advertisement? The answer here is, unlike newspapers and magazines, calendars were used even by people who did not know how to read and write. That is how calendars were the main mean or mode of advertisement at that time. In 20th century, handloom cloth production expanded steadily because the answer is, intricate design of handloom cloth could not easily be copied by mills. Mill can make one design multiple times or multiple products many times, but if you want multiple products with different design, you need to have a human skill. Why did Manchester export to India decline after the First World War? The answer is, factories and mills were busy producing goods to fulfill the need of the army at that time. In Victorian Britain, the upper class aristocratic class and bourgeois preferred handmade goods because the answer is, the handmade goods came to symbolize the refinement and class, the eliteness. Why were advertisement used to sell products in the 18th century? Mark the most important factor. For that, you will answer as all of these. To help the consumer in choosing the product, to popularize the product by using picture of god and goddesses, and to make the product look good and desirable. So all of these are answered. Nationalist Indian manufacturers used advertisement. The answer is, to use advertisement as a vehicle for spreading the message of Swadeshi. Strike the odd one out from the following option. European managing companies were interested in investing in. The answer is rice production. They were not interested in doing this. Mining, jute, indigo, they were interested in. So we'll strike out this rice production. From which of the following trade did the early entrepreneur make a fortune? The answer is China trade. Trade with China, they made a lot of money. So this is the key to the multiple choice questions if you want to revisit it. Who developed the principles of Garden City? We are talking about London. So the answer is Ebenezer Howard. In which of the following year Bombay became the capital of Bombay Presidency? The answer is 1819. Name one factor that changed the form of urbanization in the modern world. And this is industrialization. Who wrote the book The Bitter Cry of Outcast London in 1880s? Andrew Mearns, he wrote this book. What was not a reason for providing mass housing schemes for the workers? The answer is concern for the poor. Nobody cared then. Which movie did Dada Sahab Phalke he made? The answer is Raja Harishchandra. Bombay at first was under control of Portuguese. Then there was a marriage between two aristocratic family. There was a marriage between Portuguese and British. That is how British got control of the Bombay. Which of the following cities have developed in a planned manner? And the answer is Singapore. Which of the following is not a factor responsible for urbanization? The answer is rise of prices. This is not a factor. What was the observation of social survey on London conducted by Charles Booth in 1887? London needs rebuilding of at least, it's around 1 million room. So let me make it this one. To house its poor citizens. What was introduced in 1863 in London to enable the suburban people to commute to their place of work? And the answer is underground railway. Why was there heavier smog in Calcutta than in other cities in the northern India? And the reason here is all of the above. The city had a large population who depends on dung or wood as fuel, and the city was built on a marshy land. The city had more industrial units, so all of the above is the answer. Which of the following most significantly changed the pattern of urbanization? And the answer is industrialization. Why was Baron Haussmann well known? And he is well known for rebuilding the city of Paris. Which of the following statements best explain death due to asphyxiation? The answer here is death due to lack of oxygen. What was the main demand of the Chartist movement started in 19th century? The answer is voting right for all adult male. Who among following designed the city of New Erswick? The answer is Barry Parker. Suffrage means the right to vote, and especially it is connected to the voting right for women. What was referred by 10-hour movement? A movement for? The answer is limiting work hours in factories. That is 10 hours. Multifunctional city having major ports, museum, harbour, library, etc. was known as, it is known as Presidency City. The pollutant caused by the combination of smoke and fog, when you combine smoke and fog, this is smog. So it is smog, right? So the answer is smog. Which of the following was not an effect of the development of railways? The answer is connectivity to various schools. In 1886 riot, what was the main demand of the workers? The answer is relief from terrible condition of poverty. After which event did Bombay became the capital of Bombay Presidency? And the answer here is defeat of the Marathas in the Third Anglo-Maratha War in 1890. And then after, the Bombay was declared as the capital of Bombay Presidency. What was the function of Bengal Smoke Nuisance Commission? And the answer is controlling domestic and industrial smoke. Then the first Indian city to get smoke nuisance legislation was, and it was present day Calcutta. In 1864, what project was taken up by Back Bay Reclamation Company? And the answer is the project to level the hills to make Malabar Hills. Between 1914 and 1918, by which agency was the dry dock built in Bombay? And it was built by the Bombay Port Trust. Which of the following, and this eventually gave rise to the Marine Drive. Which of the following is the god of creation? It's Brahma. Author of Devganer Marte Agman is Durga Charan Ray. Which of the following city originally was a group of 7 islands under Portuguese control? The answer is Bombay. The ruler who acquired Bombay as gift at the time of his marriage with Portuguese princess was Charles II. In which of his books did Charles Dickens wrote about the massive destruction in the construction of railways? He wrote it in Bombay, the Dombey and Son. These are the answers for the multiple question we took. So this is the key to the MCQs. Which one of the following is the oldest Japanese book? The answer is Diamond Sutra. The first printing press was developed by Johann Gutenberg. Who wrote about the injustices of the caste system in Gulamgiri? The answer is Jyotiba Phule. Who among the following is an enlightened thinker whose writings are said to have created conditions for a revolution in France? The answer here is Rousseau. Which religious reformer was responsible for the Reformation movement? The answer is Martin Luther. He was the key person behind the Protestant ideology of Christianity. Who among the following was not a women novelist? The answer is Maxine Gorky. Which of the following countries was the earliest producer of printing material? The answer is China. From where did Marco Polo bring back the knowledge of wood block printing technique to Italy? The answer is from China. And only after 1295 this technology spread all over Europe. By whom was the New Testament first translated? New Testament. The answer is Martin Luther. In ancient India, which of the following material was used for writing manuscripts? It's
palm leaves. Name the first weekly magazine published in India by Gangadhar Bhattacharya. The answer is Bengal Gazette. By whom was Samvad Kaumudi published in 1821? And the answer is Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Amar Jibon. This is the autobiography of which of the following women author? And the answer here is Rash Sundari Devi. Who among the following was popularly known as Periyar? E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar. He was known as Periyar. Which one of the following best explains calligraphy? The answer is the art of beautiful and stylized writing. It's calligraphy. Edo was the earlier name of which of the following places? Present day Tokyo. Vellum refers to its parchment made from the skin of animals. Who was Marco Polo? He was an Italian. He was an Italian traveler and explorer. Which of the following inspired Gutenberg to design and model a printing press? The answer is woodblock printing of China. Martin Luther's writing and ideas led to which of the following movements? And it was, the answer here is the Reformation movement. The Reformation of the church, that is the Orthodox and Catholic was there. But after this, the new branch was formed, which was called as the Protestant, you can say branch. The Reformation movement was launched against the corrupt policies of which of the following groups? The answer is Catholic Church, or Roman Catholic Church to be more precise. Which of the following refers to Inquisition? The answer is Catholic code to try and punish the heretics, is those talking about religion in a contradictory way or not in the way which the church want. They are tried and punished, right? And that process is known as Inquisition. Aim of Protestant Reformation was to reform the Catholic Church, the rituals, the traditions which were not very good, not acceptable, or not logical. The aim of Protestant Reformation was to just want to highlight that and get rid of that. Erasmus was, the answer is, he was a Latin scholar and a Catholic reformer. And the difference between him and Martin Luther is that he was not happy with the books coming or publishing, printing, but Martin Luther was. What was chapbooks? Chapbooks, the answer here is the pocket-sized book sold by traveling peddlers. The almanac is what? It's a ritual calendar. In France, who was known as Bibliothèque Bleue? The answer is a book, a blue-colored book, cheap book made out of a very poor quality paper. Which 18th century French novelist declared the printing press is the most powerful engine of progress? And the answer here is Mercier. The print culture created condition for which of the following revolutions? It is French Revolution. Penny magazine was meant only for women. The scribes refer to skilled handwriters. Which of the following refers to print revolution and its shift from hand printing to mechanical printing? Mark the correct response. Due to invention of printing press, actually all the answers are correct. Reading culture developed, cost of books were reduced, and the time and labor required to produce books came down, and this is all of the above. Richard M. Howe of New York was well known for perfecting the power-driven cylindrical press. Why was James Augustus Hickey persecuted by Governor General Warren Hastings in India? And this was for publishing a lot of gossip about company's senior official. Then, with what purpose was the Vernacular Press Act passed by Lord Lytton in 1878? And this was to clamp down and for the censorship of the Indian, that is native press, because the idea of nationalism was spreading like anything. Why was the Vernacular Act of 1878 opposed by the Indians? And the reason was obvious. It challenged the freedom of press of the Indians. Then, how did nationalist newspaper inspire nationalism in India? Mark the most appropriate answer. The answer is by reporting the colonialism or colonial rule and encouraging nationalist activity through the newspapers, through the press, through the different type of publication. So this is the key to the multiple choice questions we just saw.
Novel, society and history. Which Hindi novel by Premchand tells the story of Indian peasantry through the characters of Hori and his wife Dhania? The answer is Godan, the epic from Premchand. Who wrote Sultana's Dream? The answer is Ruqayya Hussain. Which of the following books was written with adolescent girls in mind? The answer is Ramona. Which of the following novels was not written by Charles Dickens? Charles Dickens wrote Hard Times and Oliver Twist, and he also wrote Pickwick Papers. So the answer would be Germinal. Who is the pioneer of modern Hindi literature? The answer is Bharatendu Harishchandra. But he was not the first one who was given credit of novels. He was Srinivas Das. So the answer here is for 5th A. Which of the following novels deals with caste operation or caste operation? So the operation of caste was shown or depicted in Saraswati Vijayam. Konjabu written it. Which was the first historical novel written in Bengali? The answer is Anguriya Binimoy. This was the historical event, please understand. The novel written in the form of series of letter is called what? The answer is epistolary novel in the form of letters. A format of novel in which the story is published in installment, that is, it comes, then the second part comes, the third part comes, just like the daily soaps we see. The answer here is serialized novel. Which of the following novels depicts the changes in rural society in England? The answer is Mayor of Casterbridge. Novels of which of the following authors gives us glimpse of women of 19th century rural society in Britain? The answer is Jane Austen. Which of the following novels displays a colonial attitude? The answer is Robinson Crusoe. Defoe written it. Defoe. Robert Defoe. Which of the following is an example of early prose written in India in 7th century, and it was written in Sanskrit, right? So the answer here is Kadambari. Which of the following best explain the term Dastan? The answer here is tradition of prose tales of adventure and heroism in Persian and Urdu. The novel that generally reflected the inner and outer world of the newly emerging middle class? The answer is Pariksha Guru. The novel that dealt mainly with the poor condition of women in society? The answer is Seva Sadan. The first proper modern novel was written by? The answer is Srinivas Das. So he is accredited as the first novelist of India, you can say. In Bengal, what was meant by Kabir Larai? That is, the answer is the contest of poets, Kabir Larai. Or, it has come from Kabir. He was a famous poet in India. And then Ladai means fight, contest. The term Kissa Goi refers to what? The Kissa Goi means traditional art of storytelling. Kissa means story. Goi means how to present it. The form of writing used to criticize the society in a clever and witty manner, and this is known as satire. 20 is satire. Which of the following emphasize the need to reform of women-related problems? The answer is Padmarag. Which of the following novels describe the community life of the fisher folks in detail? And the answer is Titash Ekti Nadir Naam. Why is the writing of Vaikom Muhammad Bashir significant? The answer is his novel gives details of everyday life of Muslim households, domestic or family life of Muslims. Why was the writing of Ruqayya Hussain important? The answer is she focused on the need to reform of the women's condition in the society. Who among the following wrote Jungle Book? The answer is Rudyard Kipling. Which of the following is an epistolary novels? The answer is Pamela. Pamela was written by? The answer is Samuel Richardson. Which of the following novels reflected the effects of industrialization? And the answer is Hard Times. It was written by Charles Dickens. Who is the author of Germinal? The answer is Emile Zola. Mary Ann Evans is the real name of which of the following authors? The answer is George Eliot. George Eliot, Mary Ann Evans. The first Malayalam novel was Indulekha. Which one of the following was the first novel written by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay? The answer is Durgesh Nandini. The earliest novel written in Marathi is Yamuna Prayatnam.